interesting. You need to make sure that they can understand the process and procedure that you're implementing. And I know that if language is a barrier when it comes to that particular standpoint, that's where you're going to run into the issues on how do you give the information. I did sit through a class recently where the gentleman spoke and he said that they had to build a whole training program that had absolutely no words in the training program. Everything was based on drawings. That way everyone could understand what needed to be done. I thought it was definitely an interesting approach on how it was managed, but it's something that can be done because he was in a Fortune 500 company and they ended up developing a whole training program just like that. Okay, question number 7 comes from Christina M. from Glendale, California. Besides Safety FM podcast, what other podcasts do you listen to? Well, Christina, I like that. I'm glad that you assume that I actually listen to my own podcast, which, of course, that is true. Now, I will tell you, I do spend quite often time listening to Todd Coughlin's Pre-Accident Investigation podcast. I find it one of the most interesting ones that's out there. I have been recently tuned into some other podcasts that have come about, but that's the one that I can tell you that I do listen to the most. He has a lot of information. Very knowledgeable gentleman in regard to what's going on in the industry. And I really think that it's one of the better podcasts that is related about safety that's out there and available. Now, Todd has, I want to say somewhere, if I remember correctly, in one of his last podcasts, he referenced that he had over 500 episodes. And I did listen to one recently where he recapped one of his older episodes. It was a really good episode. So if you do get a chance, go over there to Todd Coughlin website, or you can, I think he has his podcast on Podbean in particular, but it is available on Apple Podcast, and it is called The Pre-Accident Investigation. And do keep in mind that if you do go listen to Todd's podcast, he also does have a book that's entitled the same thing. It's Pre-Accident Investigation, an Introduction to Organizational Safety. So just in case if you find the book and not the podcast, it is titled the same thing, but I would say give it a listen. It is definitely worth listening to. Well, that's all the questions that I'm going to cover today. I really do appreciate everybody sending in the questions. What I will do here over the next couple of weeks, we're going to probably tie in some stuff that we heard over at the good old American Society of Safety Professionals conference, and we're going to have some guests on. We'll have this phone thing fixed. We'll have them probably call in. We'll have some conversation with them, and I think you guys will pretty much be excited with some of the guests that will be coming on and the level of knowledge that these people will have in regards of safety. And I'm pretty excited about it. Please stay tuned, and we will get those out here in the next few weeks where you can take a listen to it. And for now, I've been your safety manager and host, Jay Allen, and you've been listening to Safety FM. And until next time, be safe.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.